What I'll cover today is more than just HPE. We'll talk about HPE hybrid cloud. What does that look like now? What's the journey of transformation towards a hybrid cloud? I have led the architecture, design, and the execution of a cloud transformation phase for a B2B enterprise integration company in the logistical vertical. And what we'll do is we will see how the hybrid cloud operates now. What are the business drivers? What do the technical solutions look like in the B2B space? Each of the cloud is hybrid. That assertion is true now in 2019. In the early 2000s, we used to only think about public clouds, and we used to think about private clouds. And the reason we thought about only the public cloud was a few developers would take their applications, try to run them on these different public clouds, do app migrations, and realize the value of the cloud or his pay-to-go model. And what we subsequently have realized that companies are seeing the value of that foray to the cloud, but they also see the existing benefit and the capabilities that they have already built out in their on-premise capital expenditures, their technologies, their people and processes, and they want to augment the two. At this point, the data which has come, latest data is from RightScale. There's an uptick in the use of the hybrid cloud, almost like 7% every year. At least 69% of the hybrid installations have at least a connection to the private cloud and the public cloud. And what are the top drivers for the hybrid cloud is only faster deployments, on-demand capacity. It's not just being in the cloud. Companies are looking to really accelerate their SDLC, their software development lifecycle. They're looking to get the benefit of that cost model that exists in the cloud. They're looking to create an intake of the new people and the skills that are available in this cloud environment. And what they are trying to do is shift the focus from their existing high proprietary systems to these new nimble systems which are making use of new technologies, new tools, and new architectural paradigms. What is also happening in this distributed network system is there's outsourcing of IT operations 24/7, and companies are realizing that and being able to leverage that support. And the security layer profile of the cloud has really become much more mature, especially we see in the financial sector, the management of the sensitive data and the adoption of the cloud by the Fortune 500 companies. So people are more comfortable in trying out these, putting their sensitive applications in the cloud. And then, of course, the cost model. That's the underpinning of the driver in this space. What's happening is the investments that have been already made in the capital expenditure have already sunken costs, and what companies are trying to do is take that money and budget it towards operating expenditure that you see in the cloud. What I'll talk about is really a case study of taking a vertical in the logistics company from on-premise to the cloud. In business-to-business messaging, enterprise integration, they were the leading broker between shippers and carriers, and what they wanted was the transformation out to the cloud. What are really the obstacles for these companies who have proven themselves to be the leaders and have data centers on-premise with high network connectivity? These matured business models have 30 or 50 years of investment in their highly complex transactional systems sitting on their prem. They have their business flows worked out, their SLAs are being done between their customers, their trading partners, between the customer and their data exchanges. And what they are able to provide in their proprietary software are highly complex workflows. So your business model is actually being reflected in your software as well. The transition from that kind of a paradigm to the cloud is not an easy journey. What that requires is a thoughtful cloud transformation strategy. It's not just taking the applications and deploying them in the cloud. What it requires is understanding the cloud skill gap for the company, understanding their business, understanding their technology, and also understanding their risk profile, how much risk they are willing to take for go to this cloud transformation journey. So the thing that made them strong and made them the leaders in their market sometimes become the very obstacles for taking that journey to the cloud. And in that space, that is when the experts come in and make it a very planned, structured, and well understood journey. And that's how I'll take you through that one. So what's the business-to-business integration context here, which is there's already a B2B on-premise model, technology stack that's brokering transactions between one-to-one or one-to-many of these customer and trading partners. What you see on these on-prem systems are batch workflows are part of these transaction systems. You'll see that in the verticals like finance, verticals like healthcare, logistics. Batch service is an integral part of this workflow. So do we continue to use them? Yes, absolutely in the cloud if we need to. But the cloud also offers us this incredible momentum towards real-time processing. We know we have leaders in this space in the use of Kafka as the streaming platform. There are proven technologies with taking batch and the real-time feeds and getting the transactional quality of the SLAs that we require in these businesses. So, and also the cloud gives us this new kind of service-based model. Every module, every functional group, entity has an interface which is service-based. It's an endpoint. It has a certain SLA to it. And so the model of doing the end-to-end transaction is actually a much more microservices-based, it's a much more services-based architectures with the right persistence layer supporting the transactions. So the transition from batch services to the web services does occur in this cloud transformation. On the configuration management point of view, there are already SDKs or CLIs that support these transactional systems, and they continue to be supported in the cloud as well. However, there is now the support for the protocols that are coming through the portals on the HTTP transport layer with the right security. So now configuration management is a remote management across distributed centers that have access to these distributed capabilities. Underlying all these management and the access and the ease is truly managing the transaction document. Transaction document is the content that is to be managed in these systems. The transaction is not just sending the transaction from the customer to the trader, but it also has very rich metadata around the transaction. It's an understanding of knowing what market, who are the high users of these transactions, where the volumes are coming from, what is the key metadata that can be captured from these transactions and create a place for the services to upsell from the enrichment or the extraction of the metadata to other business intelligence products. Companies are looking to leverage those insights for their future. So managing the tech around that, the technology, and building the hooks in the phases to be able to leverage them in the future is part of the architecture and design. And of course, examples is the transactions that happen between shippers and carriers is just an example. For example, you see in EDI transactions that happen that are supported on these platforms. What does the transformation journey look like? It's actually highly engineered. What it requires is a systems to systems kind of engineering. What we call it system engineering. We want to look at the whole system at cloud and on-premise as an end-to-end system, We want to build the phases not just for the cloud, but also set up the connections, the networking, the DMZ layers, the connectivity to the on-premise system right in the initial phases. We want to do the conceptual and the discovery and requirements in the classical way. We want to engage the stakeholders, the business drivers, and the visionaries of the company to give us the future-looking path as to how these transformation capabilities will be rolled out. And these are created in phases. There's a phasing of these capabilities. All of it doesn't have to be done the first time. It's not a big bang approach. It's a phased approach that can be applied to companies that are less than 1,000 employees, more than 1,000 multi-distributed enterprise, Fortune 500 companies. The principles still apply. After the conceptual phase is over, the discovery and the requirements phase is truly the engagement of the teams to engage with the SMEs of the company and to be able to take their functional understanding of what is on their premise and map them to the technology and to the services and the interfaces that are applicable in the cloud. And that happens in the discovery and requirement phase. And once that mapping occurs, the application design now follows the new paradigm of doing services in the cloud. It applies domain-based designs, microservice use, a different kind of persistence layers, and all of that is a refactoring of the design in the cloud. And when you're in the cloud space, considering the infrastructure as a part of your design is absolutely a prerequisite. The infrastructure setup has to be phased in as well through the phases, building in the hooks right in the first phase and then expanding them as the phases grow. The Azure DevOps gives us the velocity and the kind of momentum through the three spokes of your company, which is the people, the processes, and the technology. It's the mechanism by which the culture of the company is changed to adopt the use of new tools, new skill sets, and also agile frameworks, the way work is done, the way work is managed. For example, through Azure DevOps in the Azure portal, there is a way to manage these processes in a way that is highly transparent, visible, manageable, and is available throughout the world for anybody's viewing who has an account into the system. And this Azure DevOps also has a certain level of automation that can be baseline or highly advanced automation, depending on the appetite of the company for taking their capabilities on the automation path. The UI is a very important part of this transformation. The ability to the ease of management of these capabilities is a requirement in these systems. That's where you get the visibility in the ROI and the adoption in your business world. And then you change and adjust, and the cycle again starts from a baseline phase, moves to the second, and the third, and the fourth, and if you're lucky, it continues. What does the technology stack look like? Most of you will recognize some of these layers. And what this is the organization of the cloud transformation. And if done properly, it helps in reducing the churn around these transformations. Starting with infrastructure services, you create the environments through your subscriptions and your tenancy to have the right elevation of services through the different environments. For example, your dev, your QA, your user acceptance, and finally, the release in the prod. And that's where the build and the pipelining mechanisms of the DevOps gives you that velocity, the management, and the compliance that you require to manage these progression of these applications through the cloud's environment. The platform services is the underpinning of your application design. In most of these B2B transactions, you have a need to support synchronous, asynchronous mechanisms. Synchronous mechanisms and also transactional in nature. Service Bus is a great transactional hub and subsystem that you can deploy internally within your enterprise, and it will give you the robustness, the availability, and the scalability at a very reasonable cost in the Azure platform. The Event Hub is a mechanism that you can provide for your enterprise systems to not only track the Azure correlation IDs, but also to create custom correlation metrics or IDs where you collect all the metric data and collect them through an event hub and then pass it on to an offline business intelligence system as your for the future phases. The event grid gives you the capability of notifications, and the database storage layer, the variety that the Azure platform gives you through the blog, the Cosmos DB, the SQL Server. You can adopt a NoSQL document management or Cassandra graph-based capability through Cosmos DB. And of course, security is the underlying pinning for all layers of the transaction that pass through these different services. Monitoring, Azure Monitoring gives you the out-of-the-box portal capabilities to have visibility to analytics and application insights. And the analytics is the data-driven workhorse that, when taken in the future phases, will give you the ROI that you need to expand your business. The Log app is the workhorse, truly the workhorse that Azure has provided in the B2B space. Through the use of the integration account, they give you the ability to do transformations of the data to be able to create the business relationship between the customer and the partner, and also the different more than 250 connectors to Salesforce, Oracle DB, Service with Cosmos DB, out-of-the-box transformation of strings, access to blobs. The list is so long, but it's a great capability to explore and integrate into your system. The Azure functions give you the ability to scale on demand and dispatch your transactions to these back-end service buses. And the API apps through APIM and the web app gives you that outer-facing web interface, which usually used to take 6 months or 3 months to do. Now, by a few clicks and the wiring of the APIM, you are able to have an external-facing publisher portal or an internal-facing developer portal with the right policies and security controls that you can put in your APIM. And this, by selecting your stack, the way it applies to your functional mapping, gives you a very fast forward path to deploying and proof of concept that you can change and adjust for your customers. Where are we as HPE? HPE is not just a hardware, but also a software company. Where at the edge, with the acquisition of Aruba, we have become centric. At the middle, we have the cloud-enabled capabilities of enabling the infrastructure, the app, and the migration of applications into the cloud with CTP and RedPixie. And at the business level, we have the data-driven capabilities, starting right from the virtualized layer through Blue Data, going all the way up through to map our capabilities. So, what do we really try to achieve here? What we are trying to hit is the eye of the tiger, which is our customer success. That is our goal. And whatever we need to do to get to that level of success at the hardware or the software or the application advisory as consultative service, we engage all parts of our company to be able to achieve that. And what we demonstrate is more than 50 plus engagements with Fortune 500 companies. We have Doppler publications that are available where we share our community knowledge, and we have the capability and the expertise in the Azure cloud, also AWS and Google. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time.